Alright, so today we're taking a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Deluxe release of Mojo. This is just a single release. They did announce the box set Mojo World exclusive, which hasn't been released yet, but it is coming out pretty soon. And they ended up releasing the single release of Mojo first. So you are not forced to buy I think it's $120 set with Mojo and Longshot and Dazzler, along with a little mini Wolverine figurine. You're not forced to purchase that if you just want Mojo. So if you only want Mojo, here you go. Here's your option. And this thing retails for about $55. If you're lucky enough to find it in Target, they have it for $41.99. Everyone thinks it's a pricing error that hasn't been caught yet, but regardless of what it is, it's 40 bucks over there if you're able to get it at Target. So this thing comes packed in like a Build-A-Figure. It's in multiple pieces in which you have to build them together. Alright, so Mojo's pretty big. I can barely fit him in here. But he is standing on his legs, which is cool. I didn't expect it. I know they mentioned it, but they seem, I don't want to say flimsy or loose, but the joints aren't the tightest, and I feel like the joints should be a little tighter to hold the weight, but it holds the weight just fine. It's not using the little plastic pieces on the bottom. He's up in the air with his just bring him forward, just his legs there. So it's pretty impressive. I actually, I'm impressed by that. I like that. Overall, this thing looks cool. This easily could have been a Build-A-Figure, although it's big. So I can see why they just released it as a single release and not as a Build-A-Figure. But I'm sure they could have found a way to include all these pieces. Maybe they would have had to broke it down into two waves, and that's what made it a deluxe release instead. But for 50 bucks, 40 to 50 bucks, this is pretty good. I think this looks good. Of course, measuring him is going to be a little odd because it's depending on how high he is suspended in the air with his legs. So as he is right now, to the top of his head, it's like 8 inches, and to the top of his uh, big metal piece up top here is like 10 to 11 inches, but that's because I have him up in the air. So if he's laying flat on the ground, according to the back of the box, he is supposed to stand about 9 inches tall. It's 8.95 inches, so about 9 inches tall. This figure comes with an alternate head sculpt, which is awesome. Here is the head sculpt. You can see it's the mouth open with the tongue out. He is smiling maniacally. Overall, this thing looks great. I love it. It looks good. The paint apps, the sculpting looks phenomenal. I love it. I have no issues here. Looks really good. Now, assembling this figure was crazy. My hands hurt right now because it's one of those figures or those Build-A-Figures that really take some force to put together, especially the head and the torso. Everything else was fine. But applying the upper torso to the bottom, was crazy. It was like I don't know what was wrong with it. It just did not want to snap in, and I don't even know if it's completely in right now. I think it's half in. It's just I don't know. Maybe I'm weak. But the head sculpt was another issue. The head just did not want to go in the peg hole. It was just so hard. You might have to soften up the plastic, heat it up, and get it in there. But I did it regular temperature, and it took some force. He does come with alternate hands. He's got a right hand that is pointing, and then a left hand that's just like a grabby hand. And that's it. The hands on the figure right now, they're just open hands. So here's the other head sculpt, which is a mouth open as well. He's just smiling maniacally again, but his tongue is not out here. Again, the same sculpt and paint looks awesome. I love this little pink kind of shadow that they sprayed around the dark areas of his body, I guess you could say, in the underboob area and the underbelly area. I think it was confirmed by Dan Yoon that the deluxe release compared to the Mojo World release has a different paint deco. Now, I should have Mojo World within the next day or so, so once I get it in, I will show you guys the comparison. That might even be the next video, so stay tuned for that, where you'll see the comparison of Mojo World Mojo with the deluxe release Mojo, and that'll help you decide on whether or not you should keep your Mojo World or not, and you could just buy this one instead. Anyways, there's two peg holes here on the side. Somebody let me know what these are for. Am I missing something? I'm going to double check the box. And there you go. I actually forgot to attach these tube-like pieces. They were in the box. I missed it. But here you go. That's what those big old peg holes were for. And now it's complete 100%. You can see here he does have double jointed elbows that are pinless. You see all the detail, the texture here on the side, back piece, the back seat. Everything's here sculpted, all the wirings, all the tubes. Looks good. I wish this was painted a little more though. We do get some paint down at the bottom, blue and red. And that's it. I wish it was just some wash, some shading. Oh, maybe the Mojo World version has that. We shall see. I love the detail here with the machines going inside the back of him. Looks good. We got some blue paint on the side here. Overall detail all over the chair, I guess you should say. There's a switch at the front end that is positioned. I mean, depending on the state of your mind, that could be whatever you make it to be. Right now, he's technically turned on, right? Because the switch is on, or you can turn him off. All right, I might cut that out of the video. So we get some blue paint here and red down at the bottom. These actually look like they could have put some LEDs in here and lit them up. I don't know if that would make sense, but they look like little light bulbs. Anyways, these are meant to kind of help him hover if you don't use the legs to have him suspended super high in the air, but you can use them. But if they give out maybe in 5-10 years, they weaken or whatever, because this is a heavy figure. I'm surprised it holds it, to be honest. Then you got these to still kind of give off the illusion that he's hovering. There's all the detail on the bottom. Detail continues on. So this thing is awesome, man. I really have no issues with this Mojo. Even the price is fair. Even the higher price is okay. $55 is pretty much what what a Build-A-Figure costs. If you look for the Toy Biz Mojo, it's about $50-$60 right now. And I'm just glad this thing isn't like $80 or $70, and I'm not in focus. Sorry about that. Now, don't get me wrong. Definitely Target at $41 is the way to go. I tried. I went to multiple Targets, and I could not get it. Could not find it. So I had to go with the $55 option. Alright, so right now I have him utilizing those clear plastic pieces to hold him, and then these are just kind of make-believe holding him up. This way still looks pretty good. He's lowered down now, so if you have tall figures in front of him, you're not going to see him. That's where you're going to want to utilize the legs to suspend him up a little bit if you want him in the back of your display. Or if he's in the front of the display, then he might be covering a lot of figures. You might want him lower, but I think this guy's just too big to have him in the front of the display. Either way, he's going to have a presence, and he looks great. Just want to show you that the top piece here above his head has some colors. Plastic molds, but they are colored red, blue, and grayish. So when it comes to his articulation, obviously all his legs are articulated. We have 1, 2, 3 points of articulation on the legs. They also do rotate and swivel. Awesome leg articulations all over the robotic legs down below. No issues there really. I just wish they were just a little tighter, just because the smoothness of it is a little too smooth for the weight of the figure, if that makes sense. I wish it was just a little tighter like the rest of the figure, because the head is super tight, even though it's just a ball joint. It will swivel left and right. You probably heard a little squeak there, but you can go to the right and to the left about this much, which is pretty good. It's a barbell peg, so technically he could look up and look down, but he's got that triple chin going on here. So, it's very limited because of how obese this dude is. The arms, the tube just came off here. These are super tight as well. The arms will extend out about this far like that. And then they go down. They do go forward and back. Of course, if you do this, then that's going to come off. You could probably plug it back in. Yeah, you can. So you just got to play around with the tube there, but you can still move the arms forward and back. There's a bicep swivel. Arms are super long too. Double jointed pinless elbows, as I showed you guys. There's a swivel at the wrist with a hinge, and then diaphragm joint at the torso. So this could move all the way around, forward and back, swivel left and right, lean, tilt, whatever you want to call it. The stomach is actually the soft plastic, which is actually kind of cool because I don't know. I felt like a stomach this big would be squishy, right? So there you go. You can squish the stomach if you wish. But that's it. That's the articulation of the figure, and I think it's got everything you need. Really, no issues here. I think they really hit the mark on the articulation. So this Mojo is already confirmed to be bigger than the Toy Biz Build-A-Figure. I had a friend that was going to let me borrow theirs just for the sake of a comparison, but I was just unable to obtain it in time. So I don't have it here, but you get the idea. It is bigger. The Hasbro team did show the size comparison already, so a lot of us already know the comparison side by side. of the new Mojo with the older one, which is, it's just awesome to see the size difference there. You know, that is a big deal, because if this was smaller, then it'd be an issue for sure. Here he is next to a Wolverine figure, and here he is next to Vulcan, which is the new standard body mold. You see that he does, I mean, Vulcan's a pretty tall figure. I think when I measured him, he was about 7 inches, right, or 6.5. Yeah, he's 6.5. 6.5 inches, and you can see Mojo, since he is laying on the floor, he's about 6.5 to 7 to the top of his head. And next to another Build-A-Figure type figure, we have the Rhino, standing taller, of course, but not taller than his little headpiece, right? Alright, and here's a quick look at him with his alternate head sculpt on, and then his alternate hand here with the pointing finger there, just to get a different look at him. But yeah, overall, I gotta say, this thing's pretty cool. If you're gonna pass up on the Mojo World because of the price and you don't care for Dazzler or Longshot, then this is a good option for you to pick up, because if you only want Mojo, then here you go. This is just perfect. But if you're really looking forward to Longshot or that Dazzler, then you're gonna have to grab that box set, because it seems like that is the way we're gonna get at least Dazzler, because they just recently announced Longshot as a single release for the upcoming Uncanny X-Men Retro carded wave. So does that mean we're gonna get Dazzler too? Does that mean that box set is gonna be obsolete? I don't know. It's kind of weird to me that they would do that, but at the same time, it's kind of not cool. You guys let me know, because if, you know, that box set was announced and up for pre-order well before we even knew there was going to be single releases of Longshot and Mojo. So a lot of people already pre-ordered it. Now it's still up for pre-order, meaning you can still cancel that order from Hasbro Pulse now that you know you're going to get Mojo and Longshot alone. And if you don't care for Dazzler, then that might be the move. But if you care for Dazzler, then you're going to have to stick with that box set for now until they either announce Dazzler solo, or maybe they won't. Who knows? Well, I guess only time will tell on that one. But the way things are looking right now, based off of these two re-releases, it looks like we're going to get every single body from that box set as a solo release. So really, what's exclusive about that release? Is it just the box? I don't know. Maybe the paint deco, because like I said, I will have that one coming up next, and we'll take a comparison between the Mojos there to see what the difference is in the paint decos. So till then, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section, and hit the like button while you're there. Consider subscribing if you haven't done so already, and as always, take care, take it easy, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.